Good evening. 4 top-flight clubs were already out of the FA Cup before tonight's third-round replays. 2 more could join the Fallers this evening, including Chelsea. Big Phil was feeling the heat at a foggy Roots Hall. He needed his 50% players to ramp it up. Southend was rocking and ready. A real test of character for the under-fire Blues. Premier League survival top of Newcastle and Hull's agenda, but their replay wasn't lacking in passion, not least in the dugout. There had to be a result at Selhurst Park 2, where League One leaders Leicester City hoped to knock Crystal Palace off their perch. Action from all those games in the next hour, and the goals from all of yesterday's replays and rearranged ties. The FA Cup road, of course, leads eventually to Wembley. And alongside me tonight, a man who knew where the goals were at the old stadium. Roberto Di Matteo played in 3 finals there, scored in every one, and picked up a winner's medal on each occasion. Happy days. Now the manager of MK Dons will get Roberto's views on his old club's winter of discontent and the rest of tonight's stories from the FA Cup, sponsored by Eon, after we've seen the action. For a while, it looked like there wouldn't be any at all at fog-bound Roots Hall. The referee, Chris Foy, actually called the game off with just over an hour to kick off, but conditions quickly improved and he reversed the decision. So Scolari and his much-troubled team had a game on their hands, and it turned out to be a roller coaster ride at the seaside. Your commentators in Southend this evening, Jim Beglin, and first, Peter Drury.
Well, the fog lifted just in time, but the sense of intrigue and thrill has not here. Southend, on their biggest FA Cup night at Roots Hall for 30 years, have stuck unsurprisingly as close as they can to the side that rode its luck and resisted so stoutly at the bridge 11 days back. The postponement of Saturday's game against Crewe meant that poor Alan McCormack couldn't serve a suspension then. He has to now, so his place in midfield goes to the Belgian teenager Franck Moussa. Otherwise, it's as you were. Chelsea's team was of course much less predictable, even once news of Didier Drogba's axing had leaked out. Instead of him, Nicolas Anelka plays. It's Alex for Carvalho and Kalou for Deco, as compared with the team beaten at Old Trafford. Of course, Terry and Ballack were both suspended for the original tie. They both play, and so does Jose Bosingwa in his first ever FA Cup tie. Southend can't really lose. Chelsea, Jim Beglin, in the current climate, are obliged to win.
Well, they are, and on the back of Old Trafford, I think this is a great early chance to react with a show of togetherness and spirit. I just wonder whether Southend will gamble with an early charge in the hope of making life worse for Chelsea before it can get any better.
First free kick of the night to be taken by Southend's hero of 11 days ago, goal scorer Peter Clark. Aimed at Revel, away by Alex. Felipe Scolari in charge of 30 games at Chelsea now. He's lost only 4, but only 4 already feels too many. Lost to Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United and Roma. Goal for Kalou. Pitch is in pretty good nick. It's been covered since the weekend when Southend's game, or scheduled game against Crewe here, was frozen off.
Yeah, and what fog.
It's crystal clear now, isn't it? Poor referee Chris Foy had a terrible dilemma at one point. It reached the point of near embarrassment for him. He pulled it off in thick fog one moment, disappeared into his dressing room, and it was clear the next. Here's Joe Cole getting clear for Chelsea. Denied with his foot at the near post by Mildenhall.
Oh, is that the wrong option? I mean, Anelka's just had a little look at Joe Cole and say, why not pick me out? He's gone for the tough one near post. A little pullback, and it could have been Chelsea 1-0.
Mikel, as indeed it was at Stamford Bridge. Joe Cole. Bosingwa. Not calm was heard there. It was not a great clearance. Fortunate for him that it worked out for Revel.
Great pace from Bosingwa, though. It didn't look as if he was going to get there at one stage, and that's a corner. All the way from Alex. He was under no real pressure, and I thought he could have found Petr Cech a lot easier than that.
Zonal, man-to-man.
Zonal. Because all Southend's players are on the edge of the box, or just inside the edge of the box, and Chelsea haven't gone to them.
Check was still required to get up very high and get a palm on it, and there'll be another one.
That might be part of the plan as well. You can come a little bit more. If there's anything at all you can get to, do so. Decent touch.
And check stayed, and Barrett scored! Southend man and boy, Shrimper's skipper, has scored the goal of his life, and Chelsea have conceded again from a corner. Lampard, Bosingwa, Joe Cole, in by Bosingwa, up gets Ballack. Clark got up higher, nicked on by Anelka, stopped on the line by Mildenhall. Joe Cole, Southend bodies in the way again, and Ballack high and wide. Sheer weight of numbers, there wasn't a way through, though Mildenhall's twitch was the key moment in there, an instinctive stop.
Well, that's what I mean when I say it could be a very long night here. I mean, once this comes from Frank Lampard, it is Adam, but he does well. And that's brilliant from Clark, you know, to deny Joe Cole when he drilled it low. If Chelsea are going to get Kalu, they've got to play it earlier, because at times Sankofa is sat tucked in with a centre-back, and it needs to go sooner to him.
In by Lampard, Ballack, Anelka, Ballack! It's a corner. Well, Peter Clark doesn't think so.
Yeah, Southend say no, but Ballack appealed pretty much straight away and got it.
In by Lampard, up got Terry, it's over.
Uncontented gentleman.
Lampard lifts it forward early. Well met by Sankofa, a bit of space here for Grant, and Southend could have a rare break on, with Barnard and Revel in the middle, and Grant prepared to run, and Christoph there for support, and Sankofa a long way forward, and it's aimed in at Revel! Saved by Czech, and Stanislas! Well, I never. They might have doubled their lead. That was a good save.
Tell you what, great advantage by the referee as well, because he could have easily blown for the tackle made by Mikel. And it was a wonderful burst from Grant to start it off, and when the cross comes in, it's right on Revel's head. I just wonder, was there a little push on Bosingwa to get there? Well, he's not complaining too much about it, and that could prove a very, very crucial save by Petr Cech.
Ballack. And Lampard. Tackle from Barrett, and Anelka hit thin air.
I just think Lampard finds the back of the net if the first touch is better, and it's so unlike him as well. Good first touch then, and he set himself up to do whatever he wished.
A look that says, when is this going to happen? Mildenhall has come this time, and Ballack has gone in and equalised for Chelsea. Seconds before half-time.
Look, as well as Southend have done so far tonight, this is deserved by Chelsea. They'll feel they should have been level before now. It's just a communication breakdown. Mildenhall has shouted at Peter Clark. Now, whether he heard the shout and didn't get out of the way, you can see the keeper's mouth open. But nonetheless, once this drops to Michael Ballack, there's still a huge amount to do. It's on the half volley, and it really needs to be controlled, and he's just gotten over it enough with that right foot. That's a stunning finish.
Singwa. Lampard. Ashley Cole. Why not? Decent stop from Mildenhall, still alive with Anelka. And poked out again for Ashley Cole. Well sorted out by Christoph. And Chelsea come again with Alex. Anelka. Mikel. Tackle from Grant. Who's checked by Anelka.
Excellent strike by Ashley Cole. I think the first thought of Southend is just to drop deep. Goes through legs. Keeper gets a good early view of it though, Mildenhall. He does the right thing and he tucks it away from goal.
Joe Cole. Bosingwa's won a corner.
Just been watching Belletti as well, and he's been quite disciplined. His first love is to gallop forward, but having replaced Mikel, he's just doing that holding job. He hasn't been tempted so far to get ahead of Lampard and Ballack.
Lampard's corner. Terry competing with Clark. So Lampard again. And Alex got a nick on the way over.
Sankofa gets his head to this, you know, maybe with a bit of luck, because he seemed to be on the way back down the full-back. Alex gets above him, gets his head to it, yeah, and it just bounces off Sankofa and just over.
Lampard for a third time. And Alex up with Ballack, and Alex and Kalou, and another deflection, and another Chelsea corner, and an appeal that it came off an arm.
This shot comes in. Yeah, it does clip the arm as it goes over. Clark probably would have been very, very tough to give it, but
Lampard's take once more, Joe Cole's flick and Mildenhall's take.
But it's one of those, sometimes when the defender does raise his arm like that, referees can point to the spot.
Alex stole it away from Stanislas, and Southend have another corner.
Well, Chelsea obviously don't want to give these situations away too easily, and I thought that was a little bit softly conceded by Alex. Thought he could have maybe hooked it away with his right foot over Stanislas.
In again by Stanislas. Christoph! Not so very, very far away.
And it just continues for Chelsea, just the inability to just pick people up.
Reminder, lest you need one, that we must have a winner tonight. There is provision for extra time and, if necessary, penalties. Half an hour before that, at least. Kalou! Oh, it's a wonderful take. It's a really good goal from Salomon Kalou. And Chelsea lead at Roots Hall for the first time, and Scolari at last has a reason for relief.
And just watch this from Joe Cole. That's an exquisite ball, beautifully placed. And then once he got in position, Kalou still had, again, quite a bit to do. Thought he got around his man a little bit too easily then. Herta thought could have done a little bit better to prevent that. Just gets kind of wrong-footed.
And now Southend have it to chase. Cole, Chelsea looking to take it away from them now. This is Joe Cole.
Yeah, Frank Lampard's giving him a bit of a look here, as if to say, I can't believe you're not looking to pull this back because the angle's against you. You know, it's a bit too speculative to try from that position. Again, just opened up Southend, just the 6s and 7s now.
Here is Lampard for Chelsea, and Kalou possibly to polish it off here. Anelka must have won it. Chelsea have finally shaken off the irritation of Southend and returned a smile to their collective face.
I just love the coolness of the Frenchman, because, you know, there was no panic. He wasn't going to blast his shot. He just knew he had the corner open, and it's just a lovely little pass inside that post. Always in control.
Musa. Friedman running forwards for the first time. At and beyond Alex. Aim back for Stanislas. Stabbed out by Belletti.
Did his job very well then, Belletti.
Filling the boots of Mikel. This is rolled in for Di Santo, who is offside. In pursuit still of his first Chelsea goal. Well, they've had some fun. And as they're singing beneath us, they are Southend till they die. Anelka. Lampard. Southend are out on their feet here. Kalou. Lampard does it. Chelsea finally have walked away, and Frank Lampard insists that the scoreline in the end should be emphatic.
Now look at this, every single Chelsea player has gone up to get involved in this congratulations. That's more like it. Kalou just set it up again for Frank Lampard, and he's done well tonight, Kalou. You know, scored, set a couple up, and Frank Lampard just had to pick his spot, and again it's very, very composed, and it's pretty emphatic now.
Here's Lampard and Kalou. Di Santo. The final whistle. For half an hour a fairy tale was being told, but then reality hit and relief hit for Luis Felipe Scolari. Chelsea did trail, Southend had their moment. Steve Tilson glimpsed at glory and it was snatched away. And in the end, the Premier League outfit were just too good. And the final score at Roots Hall reflected that. It was Southend United 1, Chelsea 4.
Steve, in the end it was comfortable for Chelsea, but you had your moments there, didn't you? You pushed them hard.
Yeah, we did. You know, once we scored the goal, I think Czech's made a fantastic save from Alex Ravel. You know, it probably changed the game a little bit, because I think, you know, if we'd gone 2-0 up, gives us something to really hold on to. But you know, in the end, I can't fault the lads.
I think the goal just before half-time just took the wind out of sails a little bit. I think we would have come in 1-0 up. So that was a little bit disappointed. But, I mean, the lads have given a tremendous effort out there. I mean, they've defended for their lives, put blocks in, tackles, and full credit to Chelsea. I mean, they're a top side and just had that little bit too much quality in the end.
We've not had too much luck. And today, of course, we showed how good we can be. Again, of course, against a lower league team, but it don't matter, it's how you perform on the day and who you play against. It don't matter, we just got to go out and win, and today we're very happy.
We've been underperforming as a team, not fighting enough. The manager was right in his press conference. I think we needed to come out tonight, you know, perfect opportunity. Got a big game again the weekend. We need to keep showing that same spirit we did late on in the first half and the second half.
Just to take them to a replay was a fantastic achievement, and I think we've done ourselves justice. I think our fans have done themselves justice and everyone at the football club, and hopefully we can move on from now.
Right, let's have a word with the Chelsea camp down at Roots Hall in Southend. Ray Wilkins, the Chelsea coach, waiting to talk to us. Ray, thank you for joining us. That was never in doubt, I would suggest.
Well, I thought we played exceptionally well. It was always going to be a tough game for us because Southend did exceptionally well at Stamford Bridge, and again tonight they made it extremely difficult for us, especially in the first half. Obviously going a goal behind was a little bit difficult for us, but you know, we kept at it. We had a lot of efforts on goal in the first half, but it was always going to be difficult, but we're absolutely thrilled to be through.
I'm sure you are. At a goal down and possibly a good chance to go 2 down, it's looking like a different game than the one we've ended up seeing, isn't it?
No, but that's why Peter's there. He's an exceptional goalkeeper, and but I think the chances we had, you know, we could have scored 4 or 5 in the first half. But some great defending from the Southend boys. They threw their bodies on the line for their club and did very well. And yes, they did have a breakaway on us, but it was an exceptional save from Peter to stop us going 2-0 down. But I thought once we got back in the game, there wasn't going to be any doubt about the result.
How important was the performance as well as the result tonight, Rayford? So many people watching and hoping to see a different Chelsea to Sunday.
Well, on Sunday we got beaten by a better side. There's no two ways about that. But I thought tonight the players, especially in the first half, moved the ball around so quickly, 1 and 2 touch, that we looked an extremely good side in the first half. And again in the second half, once we went a goal up, we did look a very, very good side as well. The spirit was absolutely magnificent. The work ethic of the guys is nothing short of fantastic, and they thoroughly deserve to come out on top tonight.
Happier camp?
It's always been a happy camp, Matt. It hasn't been a situation where it's been an unhappy camp. They're obviously extremely unhappy when we don't get the results we want, because they're extremely professional guys. So, well, when you're not getting those results, then they will be unhappy. But it's got nothing to do with the morale around the place. The morale is exceptional, and I think they showed that tonight with the spirit in which they displayed.
Thanks for talking to us, mate. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Matt.
Ray Wilkins, Roberto, saying the right things from a Chelsea perspective, and that was better than Sunday. Do you agree that there's no problem with spirit and morale around Chelsea?
Well, tonight you could see after they scored the goals, I mean, the team got together, so, you know, you would think the team spirit is good. It wasn't an easy game, but, you know, it was a game that, you expect Chelsea to win.
You do, and they did create a lot of chances first half, but the way cup ties can go, if you don't take them, you can be punished. And Southend, rightly, with a tactical change from Chelsea, took the lead. Zonal marking, a fan?
Well, that's the beauty of the game, isn't it, of the FA Cup. I mean, zonal marking, it can work if your players believe in it, and if they're comfortable with it. You know, there are teams that do it successfully. Yeah. But the players have to believe in it, and they have to attack the ball when it comes to their zone. Otherwise, you can see goals.
Yeah, and Big Phil. Head in hands, and John Terry obviously unhappy perhaps with the lack of attacking the space in the ball there. There were for you, were there not, 2 key moments at the end of the first half. A chance for Southend to go 2-0 and then an equaliser.
Yes, in my opinion, I mean, if Southend goes up 2-0 in the first half, I think then the team speech at half-time would have been completely different. Yeah. So this is a big save, in my opinion, from Czech. And then obviously the equaliser just before half-time. Because again, you know, psychologically, if you go into half-time with a 1-1, you know, it relaxes you a little bit, because you know you just need to score one goal to actually win the game. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and mentally, psychologically, the balance, suddenly there's a comfort about the game which there wasn't at 1 or worse in terms of being behind in the match. You like the contribution Salomon Kalou made tonight, particularly?
Yeah, actually I thought he was the man of the match because he was always a danger for Chelsea. Even in the first half, you know, he always took the fullback on and tried to create something, and scored obviously the 2-1, and then he set up the third goal, the fourth goal. But the whole game, you know, with his pace, he made it very difficult for the fullback to defend against him.
Yeah, and laid in for Anelka on this occasion, just nice weight. Like the Frenchman's path.
For the third goal, yeah, and then for the fourth goal, he laid it up for Frank Lampard.
Yeah. And it all at 4-1, which probably slightly flatters Chelsea for all that they played some nice football at times. They are, I guess, not a club without issues to address. They've got what looks like a worrying injury to Joe Cole tonight, maybe knee ligament damage. We'll have to wait and see on that, but it looked a problem. Didier Drogba not in the squad tonight, and suggestions that he's not happy with his situation at the club. There are issues for Scolari and the administration to address. Yes?
Well, I guess if you're managing such a big club, you know you have so many players to deal with, and you expect to have to deal with these kind of problems. But even if Joe Cole is out, they still have so many quality players in there. They're all internationals. I mean, Deco wasn't involved. You mentioned Drogba wasn't involved. So plenty of talent there.
If they're all pulling in the right direction.
Yeah, I would expect them to do that. I mean, they're professionals, and they all want to be successful, and it would go against the ethic, professional ethic, if they wouldn't.
Thank you. We'll have the goals from all last night's third-round ties a little later, including the helping hand of Peter Crouch that kept the holders in the competition, and what got Joe Kinnear and Phil Brown so fired up at St James's Park. Newcastle against Hull is next.
Families and football together.
Peppa Pig Playland, a great new way to learn and play. Help your child develop with puzzles and games, stickers, things to make and do, colouring and stories. With issue 1, get this super fun sound pad and this double-sided magnetic playboard and magnets. Keep it all in your Peppa carry case. Peppa Pig Playland issue 1 out now with sound pad, magazine and your first playboards and magnets for £1.99.
Oh no, not now.
There's nothing more frustrating than losing connection. That's why the new BT Home Hub gives you our best ever wireless connection. To get a more complete broadband with a free Home Hub worth £88, call now on 0800 317 316.
I started kidding.
Down at Southend tonight, but his Chelsea side have run out 4-1 winners. They're through. Now to tonight's all-Premier League tie in the North East. It finished goalless when Newcastle and Hull met at the KC Stadium earlier this month. Someone had to find the back of the net tonight. John Champion was at St James's Park for us.
Only Manchester United and Arsenal have played in more FA Cup finals than Newcastle. That the competition provided the club's last domestic trophy back in 1955 is surely a measure of Geordie underachievement. Joe Kinnear's team selection has been compromised by the absence of 11 senior players through injury, but there's still enough quality left to form a representative team, albeit leaving only youth on the bench. Michael Owen and Nicky Butt are both cup winners. Shay Gibbon played in the 1998 final for Newcastle. However, his future here remains unclear. Hull, with league points having dried up of late, make 8 changes, giving rare starts to Nathan Doyle and Ryan France. George Boateng returns as captain. Craig Fagan is back at the ground where his leg was broken by Danny Guthrie's rash tackle in September. On that day in the Premier League, Hull won. A goalless draw at the KC Stadium 11 days ago is the reason for this replay. A visit from Millwall is the prize for the winners. Hull in their change kit tonight of all white, and this is Michael Owen, halted by Zayata, and Paul McShane clears the danger. Michael Owen bursting through with little more than 10 seconds on the clock. And it took a combination of Hull's 2 centre-backs to halt him. There's no flag, it's Garcia, it's Halmosi. It's a wonderful recovery tackle by Edgar. Because there was no margin at all for errant timing. Newcastle's backline guilty of standing still, all but the Canadian junior international. Gutierrez. Xisco and Owen available. And there's Xisco! And it should have been 1-0. Short of match action. First time he's appeared since October. That was a chance that begged to be converted. Cousin very tightly marked by Colaccini. And Cousin's gone down, having tangled with the Argentine. And it was notable that Colaccini got away from the scene of his possible crime as quickly as possible. Damien Duff. It's good play by the Irishman Duff, who's hauled down cynically. A yard outside by Nathan Doyle. So driven and deflected onto the frame of the goal. Nicky Butt held his head in his hands. Guthrie who whipped it in. It's as close as either side has come to a goal. Cousin. Late again from Colaccini, and that's not the first time. And on this occasion, Colaccini is going to be booked. Because he was late, and he clattered the Hull striker. Ball had departed. Colaccini was committed. There was a not dissimilar incident a couple of minutes ago, which he got away with. Oh, and the managers are going forehead to forehead on the touchline. And I think Phil Dowd is asking both of them to leave their technical areas. He's pointed to Joe Kinnear and said, "You in the stand," and Phil Brown too. The Hull manager has departed. Joe Kinnear is arguing before he goes. Two managers who wear their hearts on their respective sleeves. But now it's the deputies in control down there. Brian Horton for Hull, and for Newcastle, Chris Hughton. The Hull's manager is self-evident in the director's box, but Joe Kinnear's whereabouts remain a mystery. Here's Owen. Chance for Michael Owen, and by his standards, a chance that at the very least he would have expected to put on target. How often in the past have we seen Owen lash a ball on the volley up over the keeper and down into the net? Not this time. Cousin. Oh, is that a push? Richard Garcia, but the whistle had long since gone. Cousin did well to win the ball. There's the push by Fagan on Nzobia. And with that we have half-time. Nicky Butt coming closest to scoring for Newcastle with a flying header that glanced away off the face of the crossbar. One or two awkward moments for Phil Dowd, the referee, notably the ongoing feud between Colaccini and Cousin. But at half-time we still await a goal in this tie.
0-0 at the KC and 0-0 at the break here at St James's Park.
Still to come, second half highlights of this, the best of Palace Leicester tonight and last night's FA Cup goals.
Eon, bringing families and football together. Eon, bringing families and football together.
Goalless in the first game, goalless at half-time tonight. Who would blink first, Hull or Newcastle? Back to John Champion.
135 minutes without a goal and counting. Home tie with Millwall, the reward for the winners. Joe Kinnear has reappeared at the start of the second half, albeit high in the stand. A few rows behind his fellow assailant. Duff, lovely cute pass, Owen! Matt Duke did just enough. Well, what a super ball from Damien Duff to release the normally predatory Owen. Played onside by Nathan Doyle. Goalkeeper exposed, but not beaten. Veteran of many an FA Cup campaign, Brian Horton. Chris Hughton played for Tottenham in the famous Ricky Villa final. Kusan. Nathan Doyle. Mendy. Bernard Mendy's done pretty well here. That hit Colaccini, it's Garcia, and it's scrambled in by Daniel Kusan. And whilst it's brought joy to one distant corner of St James's, it has silenced the majority of the ground. 10 minutes to play, and after Newcastle have spurned the better chances in this game, it is Hull City who have taken the lead. Garcia's low ball in, converted consummately by Kusan. Lualua. He's got it back fortuitously. Kazenga Lualua. It's Guthrie. It's Owen! That was the chance. It was the moment where Newcastle's salvation beckoned. But having been spurned by the most unlikely of candidates, it may well be that the 6 times cup winners are heading out of this season's competition. Finally judged flighted cross by Guthrie, and it seemed to come off Owen's shoulder rather than his forehead. No prizes for guessing who Chris Hughton's on the phone to. It's hardly a long-distance call. Lualua. Duff. Owen went for it. Edgar tried to turn with it. And Hull are living dangerously. Charles and Zogbia. Off Nathan Doyle for a corner. And those that remain inside St James's roar their support. And the goalkeeper's up for this. Shay Given has come all the way forward. All or nothing for Newcastle. Lualua. And now Shay Given shaking his head in disappointment and frustration. Jogs all the way back. Didn't really put the goalkeeper in play. It wasn't delivered into his area. Hull City are through to the 4th round of the FA Cup for the first time in 20 years. Daniel Cousin's goal decisive after Newcastle had missed the better chances. Both managers spent most of the game in the stands. Millwall are heading for the KC Stadium on Saturday week. More problems for the Magpies. Newcastle 0, Hull City 1.
We played well. I was delighted with the performance. It just wasn't a bit. I think they had one attack and scored. That's the most sickening part of it.
I don't think it was entertaining by any stretch of the imagination. I think we played some great football this season, but to get back to winning ways was the most important thing tonight.
Anybody, any neutrals looking in would always just say there was only always going to be one winners. And of course they were smash and grab, wasn't it? It was a smash and grab job in the last few minutes of the game.
The referee tells us that he sent you and your opposite number off for meeting with your foreheads. Is that how you remember it?
I wouldn't fancy meeting Joe forehead to forehead at all.
I know we exchanged words, but that's about it. I was completely shocked, to be honest.
It was quite simple. The centre-half gone through the back of our striker. He's waved play on the first one because he thought it was an advantage, and rightly so, Phil Dowd, but he's not come back and spoke to the lad. Next challenge he makes, he goes through the back of our striker. He's going to get booked. What they're complaining about, I just don't know.
No headbutting or no heads clashed each other. If that's what the referee says, and I'm bitterly disappointed.
I'm passionate about my team, I'm passionate about Hull City, I'm passionate about winning, I'm passionate about performances, and sometimes that spills over, and I've got myself to blame for that. Phil Dowd was right.
We'll get to the managerial meeting of minds in a moment. Of course, you've got a perspective on that now that you're in the hot seat. But Newcastle were a bit unlucky, unfortunate, weren't they? They had the better chances, the better of the game, really.
Yeah, but you see, that's a Premiership. It's unforgiving. I mean, I agree with Joe that, Newcastle had the chances to win the game and clear chances to win the game. And Hull, I think, probably the only chance that they had, they scored from.
Yeah.
And that's, Premiership, that's how it is. You need to be clinical. If you get one chance, you've got to score. Otherwise, you're always in trouble there. You can concede the goal and you lose the game.
Yeah, well, Hull have done it plenty of times in the Premier League. Now they've done it in the Cup as well, to Newcastle, where they won in the league. The reason the two managers came together was a couple of meetings between Colaccini and Cousin, particularly this one, Robbie.
Yes. This is, you can see maybe his stance on his hand there. Colaccini on Cousin's hand, and he books him afterwards for this challenge, but
that one's not as bad, eh?
Not as bad as the first one. He probably deserved the booking on the first one rather than the second one, and then obviously the two managers had a few exchanges of words and got sent off. I think Joe is quite used to it by now.
Well, I guess he's certainly getting used to it. Yeah, if he's not used to it
Poor
already.
Joe,
Obviously now as a manager, I guess you know the touchline frustration a manager can feel. Is it tough at times watching?
Yeah, it is, obviously, because you can't get involved, and sometimes the decisions, you don't agree with the decisions, and in the heat of the game, sometimes you can lose your temper a little bit. So yeah, that's part of like Phil Brown said. If you're passionate about your job and your team, then sometimes you step out of that technical area and. Because you don't see it anymore.
You're just desperate to make your points to your opposite number. Normally someone who's absolutely ice cold, Michael Owen, and certainly cool tonight, but couldn't convert a number of good chances by his standards.
Can't blame him, because at the end of the day, he's the one who always gets the chances, though. He's had three good chances. Great save here by the goalkeeper, but at least he gets himself into good positions to score. Tonight it wasn't his night.
He'll be disappointed with that because it's late on. It's a late chance to equalise, and you'd fancy him for that.
Yeah, he actually scores quite a lot from headers, even though he's not the tallest. But he's a superb player, I have to say. I'd love to have him in a team,
Well, I believe he could be available at the right price. He may get the MK Dons chairman to ring.
Maybe on loan.
Dennis Wise, your old pal. The winner, when it came, as you say, perhaps Hull didn't exactly batter Newcastle's goal, and there's an element of luck from Colaccini's block in it.
Yes, he rebounded in front of Garcia's feet, and he cleverly put the ball in, crossed it in for Cousins, and that was an easy tap in for him then. And it was, what, 9 minutes before the end, so then it's always difficult to get back into the game.
Yeah, and Hull march on to play Millwall a week on Saturday, and the win is important for Hull, albeit it's damaging to Newcastle. It's good for Hull in terms of their Premier League confidence, if not form.
Even though it wasn't a Premier League game tonight, it's always good to win, even in the Cup, you know. And also, I mean, they played against a Premiership team, so
yeah,
you know, it's going to be good for their confidence.
Absolutely. Next, we'll bring you tonight's remaining third-round replay, as League One Leicester looked to spring a surprise at Crystal Palace. And we'll round up all last night's action, including the goal that marked the end of the Carrow Road for manager Glenn Roeder. Chelsea still have set-piece problems, but Michael Ballack got one back. And then the Blues cruised to a 4-1 win at Southend. Joe Kinnear and Phil Brand went toe-to-toe at Newcastle, but Hull and Daniel Kuzan land the knockout blow at St James's tonight. There was one other replay this evening. The first meeting between League One Leicester and Crystal Palace from the Championship ended goalless, so it was back to Selhurst Park for tonight's replay. Tom Skippings is the commentator.
Alan Lee the target. The header on is Moses, back to Lee into the penalty area. Alan Lee with a chance. Well, the build-up was good. Scannell takes the throw to Nick Cull. Running again into the penalty area. Here's Eiffel looking to turn on the edge of the box. Eiffel with the shot, is deflected, and that's 1-0. Palace have the lead, a stroke of luck, but you have to say they deserved it. Scannell again making his presence felt. It's run to Lee, and that's a clever ball for Scannell, and now he's going to take some catching. Scannell's into the box. Could this be 2-0? It is. The local lad has wrapped this up for Palace 10 minutes into the second half. Butterfield. Carl. Well, that's clever from Nick Carl. Here's Butterfield! Deserved to be a goal. There's a chance for Chambers. He's into the penalty area. Ashley Chambers will shoot. Speroni, good strong save to push it away. Leicester's best chance so far. Chambers coming up with the left now. Will take on Klein. Chambers with the cross. Howard the target. It's gone to Oakley! Oh, well, that sums up Leicester's night. It's just not going to happen for them. Oakley to Howard. Chambers. He's been busy since he came on, the substitute. He'll try to get the cross in. Gradell, and that's going to squirm in. They've got a consolation goal with the last kick, but it's going to be Palace's night.
I thought we deserved it tonight. I thought, you know, we had a lot more chances and opportunities, but we couldn't have been any worse than Saturday. The last game, I mean, it was the worst game ever.
I think we gave a pretty good account of ourselves again, and you know, if we'd have scored the goal a little bit earlier, it could have been a little bit more interesting, but I've got no complaints tonight.
Is it dangerous to talk about these lads too much during the transfer window?
Not really, no. I mean, if we get a decent offer, we'll sell them. Can't be fairer than that, can I?
That's Neil Warnock for you. Palace through to play Watford in round 4. Leicester can concentrate on staying ahead of Roberto's MK Dons at the top of League One. Meanwhile, FA Cup romantics were hoping that Histon, conquerors of Leeds in round 2, could pair up with the holders Portsmouth in round 4. But both had to win last night for that to happen, and only one did.
Maynard. Put the ball back into the box. Elliott with the header. Great save by David James. Elliott did well to get in front of Distan, who's tugging his shirt there, but James was equal to it. Johnson will take this free kick. Elliott will be the target again. It's half cleared. Still not away, really. Here's Crouch. And he's got the ball away there. Appeals for handball from some of the City players. But he's found Belage, and that's a great ball across the field for Traore. They're breaking at real pace here, Portsmouth. Traore into the box, taking on Fontaine. He's beat him. He's got to the line. There's Crouch for 1-0. Portsmouth have the lead. 38 minutes gone. A lightning break from one end to the other, and Peter Crouch, who was involved in the defending of that move, is there at the end to tuck it in. But you have to say there's definitely a handball there by the striker in his own penalty area. Aboud with the flick on. Here's Crouch, surely to make it 2-0. Oh dear, Peter Crouch scored one, but that should have been a second. You get the feeling Portsmouth need a second. They won't get it like that. Stivar, the target at the back post. Elliott trying to get onto it as well. Wilson will clear. Not really away. Here's Maynard! James again denies the young striker. Shot on the turn. James can hold on to it. Cranshaw though. Portsmouth looking to break once again. They've got men forward. Here's Belage down the right-hand side. Into the penalty area, no one anywhere near him. Here's Cranshaw, and that will do it. 2-0 to the cup holders, and there'll be no upset here tonight. Another lightning break down the right-hand side. Traore for the first goal, Belage for the second, Cranshaw with the tap-in, and Portsmouth are heading for round 4. Just a couple of minutes of time remaining now. And here's Maynard perhaps for a chance there, but he's gone down. Clipped by Sol Campbell perhaps, and Mike Jones points to the spot. Well, it was the faintest of touches. Maynard versus James, and James is not to be beaten tonight. That's the third time he's denied the young striker. Fantastic penalty save from England's number 1.
To be honest, I've just tried to block the shot, and maybe it might have struck my arm, but it certainly wasn't intentional. And I thought from then on it was a great break from us. But yeah, it might have hit the arm, but it certainly wasn't intentional. And I'd have been very harsh to give a free kick out. I thought.
I don't want to disrespect Portsmouth, and we wish them well. But I will go home and kick the cat when I get there, and my cat's name's Referee actually.
There we go. Thank you very much.
So would it be Championship side Swansea next for the cup holders? Or the Blue Square Premier team with big ambitions?
It would perhaps be a bit condescending to say village football now, but obviously we are in a small village, and we're here to celebrate football.
Follow the green, hiss and rainbow.
I guess it's nerve-wracking, it's exciting, it's good to have gone this far. If we can go further, that's absolutely brilliant.
I've been supporting them about 3 years now, so it's pretty much been in the ascendancy the whole time I've been here.
Come on, Easton!
On the face of it, Swansea should be favourites, but you never know on a day like this, do you?
Swansea arrived with plenty to motivate them. The match had been postponed amid harsh words earlier in the month when Histon's chairman accused Swansea of putting undue pressure on the referee.
On the day, maybe I said a bit too much. I said it as I saw it.
It's difficult to be sometimes to react composed in these situations. I think the emotions is what it is about football and in the FA Cup especially, and you can say things probably from your heart, more from your head.
I can imagine that we're like a gnat that annoyed him for a few moments on that day, and it's now gone away.
So a game with added spice. But it's almost 2 months since Swansea were last beaten, and midway through the first half their nerves were eased by a moment of inspiration from Gorka Pintado. A setback for Histon manager Steve Fallon. But his players responded by creating a great chance of their own. Josh Simpson's shot saved. Work still to do for Swansea. Thoughts of being knocked out by Harrington Waterlooville last season still fresh. But they seem to put the game beyond Histon with a second goal from Guillaume Baza. A 2-0 half-time lead, and it could have been 3 with less than 10 minutes left, as home keeper Danny Naisbitt fouled substitute Nathan Dyer in the penalty area. Naisbitt was booked and then watched Pintado hit the post. Maybe it wasn't all over. A rejuvenated Histon pulled a goal back through Simpson. But with just 5 minutes left, it was simply too late to make a difference. Swansea avoided becoming victims of an upset. Now they'll try to create one against Portsmouth.
I hope the fans will enjoy now the trip to to the cup holders, because they really deserve. We haven't had much luck in the cup, and it's about time we get some good joy there.
We've had a great crowd here, and what's great about it is we've managed to finish the game quite well and give them that little bit of hope and keep them here till the end, and that's always a difficult. We didn't want them to leave here totally disappointed, and we want them to come back and watch and try and help us push into the league.
Maybe this is the start of something rather than the end of something for Histon. After all, MK Dons are proof that it's got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the FA Cup is such a beautiful game. It involves the whole country, and small teams and non-league teams, they can beat teams that play in a higher league, and that's the fascination about this cup.
Can a League One manager find the odd talented young pearl in non-league football still?
Yes, you can. I mean, we scout non-league conference everywhere really in the country, because you're always looking for that player that you can maybe get somewhere. I mean, that is good and can add value to your team.
The next Roberto Di Matteo.
There's plenty of better players than that, but it's not easy to find the player.
Not easy. That left 7 other replays and rearranged ties last night. Our roundup begins with a Midlands derby at St Andrews, which turned into a night to forget for one of the country's best refs.
A frozen pitch forced the postponement of the first scheduled meeting. Tuesday's fixture was nearly disrupted by the smoke from a fire that had started outside St Andrews. But that had dispersed by the time that Andy Keir was put in the clear to give Wolves the lead. Alec McLeish reasoned that it was a night when nothing went right for his team. Referee Howard Webb rejected Birmingham's claim for a penalty when Marcus Bent was challenged by Richard Stearman. McLeish said the evidence was pretty conclusive. And Mr Webb merely added to Birmingham's frustration 6 minutes into the second half, when he unintentionally diverted Radajidi's pass straight to Keogh. Wolves could start to look ahead to the visit of Middlesbrough in round 4 when Sam Vokes nipped in to make it 2-0. Mr Webb later apologised, but Birmingham was still unhappy.
I don't think I absolutely believe it was a 100% penalty. It was a bad tackle by the player. He dived in, Bent took a touch on it, and he was taken down. So I made major decisions. I suppose decided the game at the time.
For almost an hour, an upset looked likely at Brisbane Road. Orient led at the break after referee Ian Williamson spotted Matthew Kilgannon handle Sean Thornton's shot. John Melligan did the honours for an O-side without a win since they beat Bradford in the second round half a dozen games ago. But whatever Blades boss Kevin Blackwell told his troops at half-time had the desired effect. That, plus a little help from home keeper Glenn Morris, his mistake was cleverly punished by Greg Halford. And 4 minutes later, the Championship side were in front. A rare bright spot in a disappointing season for striker Billy Sharp, who hadn't scored since he netted against Coventry way back in September. That's one of the reasons Blackwell is desperate to sign a frontman after letting James Beattie leave for Stoke. But at least he's getting goals from unlikely sources. Defender Kyle Norton made it 3-1 to effectively kill off the tie. There was even time for Halford to head his second and United's fourth, leaving Blackwell beaming at his young side's comeback, especially after he spelled out a few home truths at half-time.
Half the team was under the age of 19, so that's what's pleased me, is that they showed a professional response, that they can take a bit of a rocket at half-time and come back and respond like that.
Sheffield United will now be at home to Charlton in round 4 after the Addicts finally ended an 18-match run without a victory, thanks to a 6th-minute winner from Darren Ambrose. The Norwich fans called for the head of manager Glenn Roeder, and they didn't have long to wait. He was sacked this morning after 14 months in charge, but at least he's got one ally.
It's a difficult job, there's no doubt about it, and when your hands are tied financially like Glenn's are, then it's very difficult.
A thriller at Gresty Road in a game that saw striker Neil Harris make Millwall history. He was just a bit part player early on though, through teenager Luke Murphy centre stage. But the lead lasted barely 60 seconds. Alex keeper Steve Collis horribly embarrassed by Scott Barron's intended cross. The first goal of the defender's career, One of those holes to bury myself in moments. All square at the break, Hugh Harris's magic moment. Nearly 11 years after his debut, his 112th goal for the club eclipsed Teddy Sheringham's record as the Lions' leading scorer. Millwall still had to sweat though. Crew level through Sean Miller, and it looked like it would take extra time to separate the sides. But with the clock running down, Zach Whitbread came up from the back to head his first goal for more than a year and guarantee the Lions Premier League opposition in round 4.
Peterborough looked impressive when fighting back to draw at the Hawthorns, but were always second best here. Jay Simpson showing his undoubted potential when putting Albion ahead, his first goal since joining on loan from Arsenal. Albion are struggling to avoid relegation from the Premier League, Peterborough doing their best to win promotion from League One, but manager Darren Ferguson thought his team were well short of the standard necessary to compete in the Championship. Paul Robinson added Albion's second goal. Last season's beaten finalists went home to Burnley in round 4.
I thought they worked extremely hard. I thought they showed great professionalism tonight, to make sure that we weren't, a giant killing scalp.
0-0 at Loftus Road and a further 54 minutes of goalless action at Turf Moor before an error by Burnley's Alan Mahon gave Samuel Di Carmine the chance to put Rangers ahead. He'd been on the bench for Saturday's Championship fixture against Coventry. Burnley, who host Tottenham in the second leg of their Carling Cup semi-final next Wednesday, recalled Stephen Thompson in place of injured top scorer Martin Patterson. And it was Thompson who levelled after goalkeeper Radic Cherney failed to deal effectively with Stephen Jordan's cross. Burnley relied on substitute Jay Rodriguez to get a late winner against Fulham in the third round of the Carling Cup. And Rodriguez produced a repeat show against Rangers, 2-1 in the very last minute of extra time. There'll be a replay at Doncaster next Tuesday, but League One Cheltenham, 23 places below their Championship opponents, thought they should have had a penalty when Dave Bird's effort was blocked by Sam Hurd. But referee Neil Swarbrick waved away Cheltenham's appeals.
Really enjoyed the evening, but that decision on the line there, is very, very costly. But you've seen in many FA Cup ties that teams from lower divisions have refereeing decisions go against them.
Martin Allen will get another bite at the cherry next week. So the fourth round draw shaping up like this. Arsenal go to Cardiff. Chelsea will now meet Ipswich at the Bridge, of course. Fulham go to non-league Kettering. Hartlepool, West Ham and Liverpool, Everton. There are intriguing ties everywhere you look. It is an excellent draw. Tottenham at Manchester United. Portsmouth now against Swansea, the conquerors of Histon non-league Torquay, at home to Coventry. Palace go to Watford. Wolves, Middlesbrough. And this is how we line up for the next instalment. Our fourth round weekend begins at Hartlepool, who've already knocked one top-flight side out of the cup.
Here's Foley. That is magnificent! Stoke surely heading out.
Visitors West Ham were in the final 3 years ago and would have won it if it hadn't been for you-know-who.
Gerrard! He's done it! Agony for West Ham.
We're live from Victoria Park at 12:15 on Saturday, followed by a Premier League humdinger. The World Player of the Year will strut his stuff as Manchester United take on Tottenham Hotspur live from Old Trafford at 5:05. Highlights of all Saturday's fourth round action at 10 p.m. and then on Sunday at 6 we've got the best of Liverpool Everton, Cardiff Arsenal and the draw for the fifth round. Full highlights at 10:15. One result from the Barclays Premier League tonight, a 1-0 win for Manchester United over Wigan at Old Trafford. Wayne Rooney with the early goal, although he has suffered, we understand, a hamstring injury in that game and may be out for a number of weeks. They move Roberto to second place, though, ahead of Chelsea and just 2 points now behind Liverpool with that game in hand. How do you see it?
Well, you kind of expect Man United to go top-notch. I mean, they had a few games in hand last week and they've won, against Chelsea on the weekend. They won tonight, and now, on Saturday,